Okay, good evening, and welcome everyone. So I have posted the Zoom link on some platforms. I'm going to be posting the Telegram link as well. We'll be starting shortly. We'll just wait for a few more people to come in, and we'll start. We should be starting within the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to be sharing with you tonight how to take my Forex trading signals, for maximum profit. So that's what I intend to share tonight, just to see how we go about that, because this coming week, today is the last day of February, so right through from Monday, the 1st of March to the 5th of March, I'll be giving some free signals. I might, decide to extend it, through the weekend, as in cryptos, because obviously the crypto market is open over the week, is open 24/7, really. Well, 365 days a week, so 365 days in a year. So I do tend to trade, the crypto as well, especially the one you can see on the chart there, which is Ripple. So that is obviously something I'm considering. I don't want to. I won't guarantee we'll be trading cryptos over. We'll be trading cryptos over the weekend, but definitely this week, Monday through Friday, we'll be giving out, as many signals as we find. No holding back. As long as it's a good enough setup, we would post it, for people to get a taste of Forex and the profits. Okay, so let me just, give me some minutes. Let me post these links, inviting more people. I want it to be that people can log in via YouTube and Zoom. So bear with me just 1 minute. Can the co-host kindly let the people in, please? Co-host kindly let the people in as they come. You know, one of the things I found over the years, giving signals is that not everybody knows how to take signals. Sometimes you take signals, you go into profit, and if it pulls back against you, it could end up as a losing trade. A trade that was once a winning trade could turn into a losing trade. So we want to share tonight how to put a stop to that. We want to share with you tonight how to put a stop to that. Okay, we'll be starting in a few minutes. Thank you for your patience. Okay, once we start, I'm going to be muting everybody, so if you want to ask a question or make a comment, you would have to use the chat box, the Zoom chat box, or you will wait, until after some minutes when it's time for question and answers. I will be giving us the opportunity to ask questions. So welcome everyone, welcome. Kim, welcome Patricia, Yemisi, Auntie, Bamikole, Efon, and Theodora. We'll be starting in 5 minutes. 5 minutes we'll start. So get yourself a drink or something, and we'll be starting shortly. I'll be muted. I'll step away from the computer, get myself a drink, and we'll be ready to go. Okay. Right here. So good evening, everyone. It's Francis here. Thank you for waiting. But I'm sure we would not have wasted all this time for nothing tonight. I was obviously waiting for more people to join in, but when they do join us, then they would benefit or gain from whatever we have to share. Now the thing is, obviously, there are going to be those who will be joining us on YouTube, those who are not part of our community in Telegram. So that's how it is going to be tonight. So just a quick introduction of myself and tell you a bit about what we do. I mean, I have been exposed to trading since 2008. I started off as a Forex, as a stock trader, and then moved to binary options. Binary options, I believe, is what is now popularly known as HFX, high frequency FX. I did binary options for some years, and for about 2 of those years, before I actually moved or eventually moved to Forex, I basically, was a signal provider, for 2 organizations. One of them based in Singapore, and the other one in the United States. But after the companies basically folded, what I then did was I transitioned into Forex, and since for the last 6 years I have been trading Forex actively. So that is basically what I do now, and for some years now, I've also been not just providing signals, but providing Forex education. So what I have learned over these years is that not everybody is able to do well with taking trades off signal providers. And there are a number of reasons. I'm going to be sharing some of these reasons tonight. Whenever you get to watch this, I'm going to be sharing some of the reasons tonight. And I thought I'll basically put up a session like this, whereby I would share my experience and obviously get you to ask questions. We're going to be having a Q&A session, so be patient with me. I'm sure I'm going to be on the chat explaining some things, perhaps for less than 20 minutes, and then I would open it up for question and answers. But in the meantime, feel free to ask your questions in the chat box in the over on Zoom, or if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to ask your questions there as well. So let's just start tonight by having a look at this particular trade I am in. It's a crypto trade. The reason why I thought to do this using crypto is because the crypto market is the only one that is, is the only one that I trade that is open over the weekend. So I thought I would use this as an example. The crypto we have open here is Ripple. I know most of the one. Okay, sorry guys, I'm going to mute everybody. But you can always, raise your hand later on if you have any comments or if you like, if you have questions. Okay. Okay, so what we have here tonight is Ripple, and we are in a short position. Short basically meaning we entered a sell. We entered a sell. We're currently over about 200 pips on this one. Now, when most signal providers give their signals, what they tend to do is that they will give you the stop loss, they'll give you the entry, they'll give you the stop loss, they'll give you the take profit targets, as in TP1, 2, 3, maybe even 4. So I do the same as well. So if I was to give you a signal, for instance, saying, we have TP1, 2, 3. If I say TP1 is 20 pips, TP2 is 40 pips, TP3 is 70 pips, I'll basically spell it out. Well, I will spell it out, especially as I am going to be giving signals, for the next 1 week, to those in our Forex community, free of charge. But obviously, with myself, when I'm giving signals, to the inner circle of my Forex community, that is, those that we refer to as the VIP members, they pretty much understand, our trading strategies, and, I might not always have to spell it out in details, but because I'm going to be providing it for the general public, if you like, I would have to spell it out, stop loss, take profit targets, entry, and all that. So let me just take you to Trading View. Let me share a different window with you. Okay. Bear with me. Okay, now this is the Trading View, a trading platform we use for analyzing data, or analyzing the chart, if you like. So, assuming okay, this is, let's use the example of Ripple. Let's bring up Ripple. Okay, so that's Ripple for you. Okay, so assuming, we entered so the way I would send out the signal would be the entry, the stop loss, note that, my stop loss usually follows my entry because stop loss is very important. Not everybody trades with a stop loss, but I do always trade with a stop loss, and I recommend, you begin to do the same if you've not been doing that. Lots of people have blown their accounts not using a stop loss. I mean, I can trade without a stop loss. I can trade without a stop loss, but obviously, that's a different strategy, which I won't be discussing here tonight. I don't want to put myself in a situation whereby I'm having to explain a lot more, that would require, me spending, maybe just 1 hour with you. So I do recommend trading with a stop loss. Okay, so with my entry, I mean, you saw my chart, my MT4 chart a while ago. Let me just use the trade details on there. Let's use the trade details on there. So my entry there was 0.43436. So that was the entry. I mean, note I have not put the stop loss in yet. Let's go back there. I'm going to be switching between this, between this window, the trading view window, and the MT4. Okay. Let's share this. Okay, so obviously we are back to the MT4. So we went short here. That was the entry, on here. So assuming, we say we are placing the stop loss here. Let's make it red for danger. So assuming we are placing the stop loss here, and we are having, 3 take profits, to take TPs, so we could have the first here. I'll just, use different colors, obviously, so that we know, they are different. So let's make this dark orange, and we'll make this blue. Right here. So we have this as the stop loss. That's the entry. We have this as the stop loss. We have this as the TP1, TP2, and TP3. Okay. So from entry, we are saying the TP1 is let me make a note of that. So TP1, this is just, an example. It doesn't mean this is exactly where I'll place it. I'm obviously just doing this for the sake of the training tonight. So let's say, TP1 is at 0.38891. 388.914. That's TP1. And TP2 is 0.367395. And TP3 is 0.343919. And of course, have we chosen our TP? We've not checked our TP yet. Okay, that's TP1, that's fine. Okay, you know what? Let me show you this. I mean, just in case you don't know to do this. I mean, there are certain things that I did not learn as a Forex trader, perhaps 2-3 years into my trading. With regards to where you entered, your TP should be at the top. You can actually click on this. You can actually click on your entry line and drag it, and you have that as your stop loss. So also if you want to drag your take profit into place, you can click and drag it to wherever you want. Okay, so having done this now, let's now check what the TP, the stop loss is. So the stop loss is 0.47852. Okay, so we're now going to go back to, if you don't mind, stay with me on this. We're going to go back to Trading View to type in those details. Okay, so that's fine. So we have the stop loss as 0.47852. And TP1 is 0.388914. TP2 is 0.367395. And TP3 is 0.343919. Right here. Do we change the color of this? Let's see if we can make it look nicer, if any. Well, I think that's easier on the eyes. So here we have it. That is the entry. Sorry, that is the entry. That is the stop loss, TP123. Now, I would recommend, you trade. I mean, for every signal I give, I would well, maybe not just for my own signals. If you take signals from anywhere else, like I always say, learn to trade yourself. You want to learn how to trade for yourself. You don't want to be a professional signal taker. But there are times in life when perhaps maybe you've not gotten to where you want to get to as a trader yet, but you still want to start earning money. Definitely you want to sign up to a signal service that is consistent with regards to profit, that delivers the profit while you are learning. But what I am saying is, if you're going to be taking signals, you want to know how to take the signals. At least if you're going to be taking my signals, I would recommend you use 1 to 2% of your account per trade. 1 to 2%, not more than 2% of your account per trade, which basically means if, like we have it here, we have 3 TPs. If you are going to be targeting TP3, let it be that you are entering with a maximum of 2%. If you are targeting TP2, same thing, 2%. I would explain that we are trying not to have any misunderstanding tonight. So whatever you are targeting, because you could see my signals posted and you say, oh, well, okay, fine. I trust this guy. I've heard a lot about him. I hear he's a very profitable trader, so I'm going to go with 10% of my account. Whoa. Don't trust any signal provider to the point where you are risking more of your account than you ought to. And guess what, guys? Forget what people have said. Even though you have been taking a signal from a signal provider and he has been consistent for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, if it is the case that he wins 70 or 80% of his trades, don't over leverage your account. Don't risk more than you should per trade, because it could take just the one trade to dent your account badly. Just the one trade. You've been risking 2% per trade, but because all of a sudden there are all kinds of financial pressures from every side. Your parents are calling, are asking for money. Your car needs to be fixed. You're under financial pressure. You say, oh, well, I need $2,000 by the end of next week. $2,000. Oh, this guy Francis, I hear, is a very good trader. He's profitable. I've been taking his trades. I've been risking 2% per trade, but I know because he's been so good. If I risk 25% for this trade, all my bills will be sorted out. I would have secured that £2,000. Guess what? It could be that one trade that hits your account so hard. So I would say, disclaimer, I only share my trades. If you choose to take them, go with my advice and only risk a maximum of 1 to 2%. Otherwise, please do not take my trades. Do not take my trades. Seriously, risk 2%. I do not win every trade. I'm sure, some of you, watching this today, know that I do not win every trade. I don't claim to be the best trader in the world. Yes, I aim to be, but I do not win every trade. You don't want it to be that trade you take at, using a standard lot size or 2 lots or 5 lots is what then, blows your account. Okay. Even before I move on, let me even say this. There's so much I could say tonight, but I will just try and keep it simple. Let's finish this. I'll share some other things with you. But anyway, so if you are taking my trade signals, for instance, this signal here, and you are targeting TP2, let it be 2%. You're targeting, even if it's TP1, fine, 2% maximum. TP3, what that then means, that is basically one of the reasons for tonight. One thing that I know as a signal provider, in the past and now, that a lot of people don't understand. If, for instance, there's TP3, as much as TP3 or TP4, and you are risking just 2% of your account, you might have to break it into 2 or 3 trades. Oh, yes. So it might be that you are risking 2% of your account. You could decide, okay, fine, I think I'll go for just TP1 and TP2. I'll let TP3 go. After all, I'm sure more signals will come I could target, I could, go trade those ones as well. But I have just 2% to risk for this trade. I could split it into two of 1% each, which means I will target, TP1, for 1% and target TP2 with the other 1%, making 2 in total. Or you say, okay, fine, TP3, I don't want to know. I'm okay with TP2. So I'll go for TP1 and TP2. So TP1, 1%, TP2, 1%, making 2. Now, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people do get busy, they get distracted. Maybe you're working from home, you are you are doing your other businesses at home, and you're, typing away at the computer. And when TP1 gets hit, it actually gets to TP1, which might be 20%. Sorry, not 20%, which might be 20 pips. Now, never mind this. I mean, I know, I've not calculated the pips, but let's just say, TP1 is 20 pips, profit. The price hits TP1, perhaps even gives you more pips, and then pulls back, which obviously means, by the time you now turn to your chart, you realize that, it has been to TP1, it has hit TP1, but then it has now pulled back, and you are now at maybe 10 pips, which basically means because you did not set your take profit at TP1, you missed it. That's why I would say perhaps it's best you actually break your trades down, so that if there's TP1, TP2, TP3, enter 2 or 3 separate trades. You would set the first trade at TP1 so that if it hits TP1, it closes out, you've secured some profits there. You didn't get to TP1 and then it pulls back, you've just given back some money to the market. So you will break your trades into 2 or 3. But the sum total of those trades would still add up to 2% maximum. I'm sure we are getting it. So you've set 3 trades or 2 trades because you are not bothering with TP3. You are okay with TP1 and TP2. You've taken 2, you've entered 2 positions, and you've actually set them at TP1, which is this, as we have it here. And the next trade, you've set it, to take you out at TP2. So that even if you do get distracted or whatever, you know that when the price gets there, you are going to be taken out in profit. But for both trades, you will still nevertheless have the same stop loss because, the stop loss is the same anyway. So you've entered 2 positions, because another way you could do it obviously is if you enter 1 position, it would have to be that you are watching it so that when the first take profit is reached, you then manually close the trade. That's the other way to do it. But the truth is, we know, a lot of us, can easily get busy and distracted, with other things and end up not knowing when it gets to TP and then it pulls back. So that is my advice. On the other hand, if we have, 3, TPs here, you might decide to you might decide to enter 2 trades. There are 3 take profit points there, or take profits there. You can decide to enter 2 positions. The first one would close at TP1, and the second one will close at TP3. So even if you're not watching, by the time the first one gets to TP1, it closes automatically. and you can then wait for the others, the other trade to get to TP3 or perhaps TP2. You decide when to close out. So that's my advice, guys. That's what I would say is the best way to take signals. I mean, in saying that, I am going to be going back to the MT4 soon, for us to do some further explanation. But before I go there, let me just clarify some things. I have I have taken signals from people in the past as well, and and I know people get up to all kinds of craftiness just to sell their business, to sell their service, their signal service. You won't, I'm sorry guys, you won't find me playing such games. I'll let you know exactly what it is. Let me explain something. I've taken signals in the past from a number of different people. Well, not a number, well, a number as in, at least 2 different people, because when I was providing signals, for the company in America and for the company in Singapore, it was the case that it wasn't just me providing signals. Because I knew the other signal providers were good, there are times when I would take some of their signals as well. So I mean, with these 2 companies, I provided signals for. They were good. They were they were honest. They were honest with regards to the way they worked out signals. So that at the end of the week, if they are saying we delivered about 500 pips this week, you can be sure it was more or less 500 pips, maybe even more. But they rather be on the conservative side and say, okay, it was 500 we delivered, and it was 500. But I have known other companies. That would count their pips in such crafty ways, some such creative ways that you are thinking, they say they got 2,000 pips, and you are thinking, are you joking? You didn't even get a quarter of that. Let me explain. I mean, I'm sure you guys, for those of you who are here, who are part of the Telegram group, we've posted our results for the last 2 weeks. The first week we did about, I think it was about 50 something. I gave out only so much. The second week we got about, let me just, clarify here. Let me just quickly clarify, get the exact figures. Okay, sorry guys, just bear with me. Let me quickly get the exact figures. Okay. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to come back to that. But roughly anyway. I mean, I'll come back to the precise figure. Okay. I can see it. Yeah. The first week we did about 55 pips. Week ending the 12th of February, we did about 55 pips, and then the following week, week ending the 19th, we did about 138 pips. That was like, double or so. And this last week, obviously today is Sunday, the week which ended on the 26th, we did about 200 pips. So you can see, I have been giving more trades, successively, and it's been increasing. So last week we did about 200 pips. I gave away, about 200 pips. Well, trades worth about 200 pips or so. So this week we are going to be targeting about 500 pips. And obviously it's going to be, sent in the free signals group. But it's just to let people know what's capable, what you can basically achieve with Forex. more so what you can achieve with our own signals at GWT. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. The second reason why I'm doing it is basically, not everybody has been able to, a lot of people have contacted me. They do want, some Forex education, but they can't quite afford, the subscription. You might think, oh, it's only £55 or it's only £35, depending on what package they go for. But believe me, people are out of work. Not everybody, especially at this time, people are out of work. Not everyone is able to afford it. And hence, say, okay, fine, let me chip in there. So I'm hoping that, by the end of this week, Friday, people will be able to at least get some money to pay for signals or the education. I believe a lot in learning to trade for yourself, and I believe in mentorship. So let's go back to this page, this chart. What I was explaining, never mind these figures, guys, never mind these figures. Let's just say on average or typically, my TP1 usually will be at 20 pips, anywhere between 20 and 30 pips, depending on the currency pair. If it's a currency pair that has an average daily range, a high average daily range, then obviously like pound and euro, Aussie dollar, you can expect TP1 to be 30 or 35. But let's just go with the regular pairs that do not, have such high ADRs. On average, the TP1 will be 20 pips. TP2 will be about 40 pips. And TP3 will be about 70. So let's say, TP1 is 20 pips, TP2 40 pips, and TP3 70 pips. So really, that comes about 130 pips, I believe. Yeah, sorry, about 120 pips. So 20 plus 40 plus 70, that's about, 130, about 130 pips. Now, when the price gets to 20 pips, the way you should count it really, if it gets to 20 pips and you are still in the trade, it hits, you close out, fine, you've secured 20 pips. If it then gets to TP2, which is at 40 pips, which means you now have a total of 60 pips. That is 20 pips plus 40 pips, which is 60 pips. If you stay in the trade until it gets to TP3, well, fine, you get another 70 pips, which means you have a total of about 130 pips. That's the way it should be counted. But I've seen people, being creative with regards to, their pips, their count, whereby, the first one, yes, they will register it as 20 pips. The second one, instead of saying it's 20 pips and then, 40 pips, making 60, they will now call it, I don't even know how they do, how they work it out. So in a sense, they are counting their pips, they are counting the take profits, the pips twice. And you're thinking, this is creative counting, creative arithmetic or mathematics. And let's not go there, let's not go there. Let's go back to the chart here now. So I am just basically letting you know, when we say we got 200 pips, when we say we got 200 pips as we did last week, it means the total number of pips we got. If we say we got 200 pips for all this trade, it means the total number of pips, to TP3 is what we got. In this case, it would have been 130 pips. Now, if somehow you stayed longer, more than TP3, and it went even to 200 pips or 250 pips, we are not going to count that because we did not give more than TP3. So you will find that would happen sometimes. We'll say target, a maximum of 130 pips, and the trade ends up giving more. Fine, we will only count what we gave. So let's go back to the MT4. Let's go back to the MT4. bear with me, guys. I'll be giving you some opportunities to answer some of your questions or hear your comments. And for those on YouTube, bear with me. If you have any questions, I would answer them shortly. Okay. Okay, yeah, I can see some of you are on YouTube. I mean, if you are on YouTube, say hello to us. Let's see who's there. And give us a like. Give us a like. There are 5 of you there. There's only 1 like so far. So I want to see 5 likes there. I believe I'm delivering some value here. So I would also just quickly share our Telegram group if you're not part of our Telegram group, so that you definitely will get, you can share the in my trades. Bear with me. Let me share our Telegram, the link to our Telegram group. Now, for those of you who don't know what Telegram is, because yes, I find out that some people still don't know what Telegram is, which is fine, it's fine. Telegram is similar to WhatsApp, except that Forex traders like us prefer to trade to use Telegram other than as opposed to WhatsApp. Okay, so that's our Telegram group. Just download it on your phone and on your computer, and you should be fine. So give us a like. Give us a like. Okay, so coming back to the MT4, you can see this trade has now pulled back. It's now pulling back. I mean, now it says about 180 pips. I mean, earlier on when we first started, it was at some point it was about 240 pips. When I first started, because before this session, before we went live, I was on with members of our VIP, and it was about 245 pips. But then you can see it has given some back. It has pulled back. So basically, this is exactly what I was saying. If this was our TP3, for instance, it means when the price got here, it would have closed out, and we would have secured all the pips that we said it will give. So if this is the entry, we can see the price came. We can see the price, came as, gave as much as, well, okay, sorry, about 400 pips. I mean, obviously, it gave as much as 400 pips, but when I was with my VIP guys, it was at about 245, which basically means we gave some back to the market because we did not close when we wanted to close, when we should have closed, which is fine. I kept this trade open for tonight's training. So that's exactly what I'm saying. If we had TP1, TP1 would have closed and we would have secured the bag. If there was TP2, we would have secured the bag. If our TP3 was 400 pips, we would have secured the bag at 400 pips. But now, because we left it open, it has now given a lot more back to the market, over 200 pips back to the market. You don't want to do that as a trader. So I believe we have understood how I advise you take my signals. If anyone else is giving you signals, then obviously you have to find out how to take their signals. But with me, this is pretty much how I would say to take my signals. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I don't know if there are any questions. I mean, perhaps there are a few more things I want to say, but if there are any questions, you can raise your hand and I would, well, I think if you want to type it in the chat box, we could answer them there. Okay. Okay, so Theo is saying, you know, we mentioned TP4. You know, is that ambitious? No, not really, not really. I mean, I mean, for those who are part of our trading community, you know that there are a number of times, when we have, you know, said, you know, we are targeting 150 pips. We close out at 150 pips, only to realize that the market has gone way beyond, you know, 150 pips. You know, I prefer to play it safe. I mean, I usually would prefer it to be that, you know, people actually do secure the pips, you know, because you will find out that what tends to happen, I mean, that was a great question. You know, you will find out that what tends to happen is, you know, the market would not go it would not go in a straight line. If you're going long, which means it's going up, it will not go in a straight line, even as we can see here. Let's just show you this. Let's show you this. So we can see here the market has been going down, and what was it? Let's go to a smaller time frame. Let's try and explain it using a smaller time frame maybe. Okay, I mean, let's say for instance you entered the trade here, you sold here. The market went so far before it pulled back, went low again and pulled back. It keeps doing a zigzag. It keeps doing a zigzag, and that's precisely what happens. So if, for instance, I enter the trade here and I set this as TP1, TP2, TP3, let's say I set this as TP3 because I knew the market was most likely going to come this far. Yes, I knew it was going to go further, but being a responsible signal provider, you want it to be that, you know, because you are giving signals to lots of people, those who perhaps have been, you know, trading for a long time, others who perhaps are new to trading, and whatever else is in between. So you want to be responsible to note that there are going to be others who perhaps, you know, would want to go for more. But the truth is, you want to give people what you believe the trade would surely deliver. Now, even though I'm from my own analysis, I think, oh yeah, the market could go this far. The truth is, we are not the market makers. You know, we've done our analysis, we've drawn up our charts, head and shoulder pattern. You know, we've drawn all kinds of patterns, harmonic patterns, and all that. And we reckon it's going to go as far as TP4. But then the market decides to come just this far. Okay, let's so let's assume, you know, I gave a signal, you know, that is TP3 and that is TP4. So okay, so assuming I gave the signal, you know, having this yellow line as TP3 and this as TP4. Now, guess what happened here? It got to TP3. Those who set their, you know, their take profit at TP3 definitely would have been closed down here in profit before the price pulled back. Now, guess what, guys? Guess what? The fact that the price has pulled back now doesn't mean it's not then going to come back and hit TP4. But hey, let's get as much as we can out of the market, you know, but we want to be wise, knowing that yes, it can possibly give us TP4, but if we get TP3, let's be fine. So the take profit I would usually give will be based on the analysis I've done, and I find that, you know, from what I see on the chart, it can go as far as TP4. So that's why I would sometimes, yes, you know, give TP4. But yes, I mean, in a sense, you are correct, because most of the time I would usually stop at TP3. I would usually stop at TP3, and you know, that's where I would leave it. You know, so Yep, that was a good question. I mean, I don't know if there are other questions. I don't know if there are other questions. I mean, okay. So something else I would want us to note. Let me have a sip of water. Something else I would want us to note, which is very important as well. Very important as well. I mean, we entered this trade here, for instance, and you can see where my TP is. Sorry, you can see where my stop loss is. Assuming that is where I had my stop loss when we first, when I first entered the trade, or when you first entered the trade, you had your stop loss, somewhere there or wherever. As the trade begins to go into profit, believe me, you want to begin to move your stop loss into profit. First of all, bring it to break even. And then as the price continues to move in your desired direction, you want to keep moving your stop loss along as well. In a sense, you want to then trail your stop loss, not manually, not automatically or mechanically. I would say to trail it manually. To trail it manually, which basically means you would have to move your stop loss either by typing in the number or by dragging it on your chart. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to on this, well, during this training, begin to share how to count pips. I mean, to be honest with you, that is what you want to learn first. When you get into trading, that is one of the basics, one of the fundamental things you need to learn. You need to learn how to count pips. So, if, for instance, like I say, you can see I'm able to drag my stop loss, up and down as I want. So if, for instance, I say, for instance, you entered the trade here, you entered a short position here. Okay, let's go to where I entered. Say somewhere around here. We entered here for a sell. By the time your trade goes into to hit TP1, we entered here. By the time your trade goes to TP1, well, this is not TP. This is Ripple. So I mean, when I say 20 pips for TP1, 40 for TP2, that is for regular currency pairs, not cryptocurrencies. I mean, for crypto, I most likely will be using 50 or 60, depending on the currency. So this is just an example. So anyway, let's assume we entered here and TP1 was, let's say, 80 pips. By the time it gets to TP1, regardless of the currency, whether it's a cryptocurrency or a regular currency, when it gets to TP1, ideally it will close out in profit. It will close one of your positions, but then you want to move your stop loss to break even. Don't move it to take profit. Don't move it to take profit one, in this case here. So we entered here for a sell. This was TP1. And this was TP2. So TP1, TP2, by the time TP1 is hit, that's the time to move your stop loss to break even. And by that, I mean move it slightly below your entry. so that you have secured the bag. You know, no matter what happens now, even if the price moves against you, whether slowly or sharply, it will close you out with some profit. Maybe not as much profit as you want, but it will close you out with some profit. So that is basically how you would go about it. You know, so you only move your stop loss to break even once TP1 is hit. So TP1 is hit, the first position is closed out, you know, the trade begins to go, you know, further down or lower, which is fine. As the trade is progressing down, you begin to move your stop loss gradually as well. You know, so I would say if it moves 10 pips, move your stop loss further by 10 pips. Yeah. If it moves 10 pips, or maybe even if it moves 20 pips, you could move your stop loss, you know, by half of that. So if it moves 20 pips, you know, further into profit, move your stop loss maybe, you know, by the same amount or by half of that, because you want to give the market room to move. You know, sometimes we move our stop loss or we trail our profits too closely to the point where, you know, the price just goes back and hits your, you know, trade and closes you out, when indeed it would have gotten to TP3 or even TP4. You don't want to be taken out of the trade too early. You know, for some of you who are part of our trading community on Telegram, I did a video recently on how not to come out of your profitable positions, your profitable trades too quickly. I mean, why give back to the market? I said all the time, even tonight, I've said it lots of times. You can tell that I am one who wants to get hold of it and hold on to it as much as I can, you know, because the market is not that generous to just let you have it and keep more and keep taking more. Once you grab hold of it, don't let it go. I mean, if your profit, if TP1, your trade has given you TP1, why would you want to then let it now close out against you in a loss? No. Again, once you hit TP1, that's the time to move your stop loss into break even. Just drag it slightly below. And as the price continues to go down in your direction, you keep on, you know, dragging your trade as well. You know, but your trade, yeah. So obviously, if it gets to TP2, the second position closes. If you have a third position, hopefully, if it gets to TP3, your third position will close as well. You know, so that's, you know, I believe that's all, you know, we have for tonight's training. But what I am going to do, guys, what I'm going to do is to we're going to stop our streaming on YouTube, but we'll stay on Zoom, you know, for whatever conversation you might want to have or whatever questions. So for those on, hello, Joey. Hello, Joey and Dad. You know, Joey, if you're not part of our Telegram group, you know, do feel free to join us on Telegram. I've posted it there. I would say also to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, so that whenever we have some, you know, free training like this, or we have our free live trading sessions like we do once a week, you'll be one of those who will be notified early, and you can, of course, join us. I mean, if you are already part of the Telegram group, you know, say hi to me so that I'll know you attended. You know, obviously, you know, that's making a connection with me. So anyway, you know, for those on YouTube, you know, we are going to say bye to you. But if you want to carry on, you know, with me on Zoom, then you can do so by joining our Telegram group. The Zoom link is on the Telegram group, and you can then obviously have further conversations with us. So anyway, you know, thank you, and I will stay on with my guys on Zoom currently. Bye now. So anyway, the signals are going to start, on Monday. If we get good setups. Now, if we don't find a good setup, we will not just give signals for the sake of it. We would only give trades that we believe are high probability setups. So anyway, for the final time, bye to you on YouTube.